And anytime I try to tell you, the words just came out wrong. So I have to say I love you in a song. Nah. Okay, BOOZHOO. Welcome back to the show. Welcome back to BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO, a podcast about Ojibwe language and culture. Just jumping right into it, sweetie. Okay. My name is NANABOOZHOO. And over here, the lovely and the talented Natasha. Ekadon BOOZHOO Weenie Mushang. Say hello, sweetheart. Hello, everybody. How you doing? And over here, the ruggedly handsome rock star cartoonist, Michael Lyons. Ekadon BOOZHOO Niji. Say hello, my brother. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the show. And yeah, we're on just early today, huh, sweetie? Yep. You never know when we're going to sneak up on you. BOOZHOO crew's all like, oh, I'm still asleep. Oh, BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO won't be on for a good hour and 15 minutes yet. So I'm not even going to turn on the internet. People don't even want to watch the internet until we're on, huh? That's what I like to believe. Yeah. But we're on a good hour early today. Yep. Early to bed. Early to rise. Makes a man. What does it make a man? Healthy, wealthy, and wise. Healthy, wealthy, and wise. If you get up early, it'll make you healthy. I don't know why. Probably because you won't stay out late drinking if you're getting up early. It'll make you wealthy. You can make some money if you get up early. Go out and collect some... You can get some worms after it rains off the road. You can sell some worms in a stand for the fishermen when they go by. That's one way to make money. I guess that's it. Yep, that's the one way. Yep. And then what? Wise? How does getting up early make you wise? Well, because then you see through the lies. How do you figure? I don't know. It's an old saying. Healthy, wealthy, and wise. And that's the subject of today's podcast on Ojibwe language and culture. Because as you know, sweetie, what's that? Today, in Ojibwe, is Anama Gisha Good. That's what I hear. It's prayer day. Yeah. Prayer day. Get your prayers on. Sunday. And so for today's prayer day, I'd like to say a little prayer for the BOOZHOO crew who sleep in on Sundays. You know, they're out there burning the midnight candle, burning the candle at both ends so they can't get up early with us. And this is why, sweetie. What? That we're so much healthier, wealthier, and wiser than everybody. You think so? Well, I didn't have the wisdom to consider that if we did a live stream this early, nobody would show up, which is kind of the case right now. Yeah, nobody's watching, huh? Hello. Welcome to the one thing on the internet that's completely ignored. We're a live stream with no audience. All right. Since nobody's watching, let me tell you people what I really think of you. Wake up. Gosh cozy. Daylight in the swamps. What, are you going to just sleep your day away? Oh, it's Sunday. I don't have to wake up. It's the Sabbath. Hey, dummy. It's not the Sabbath. It's church day. It's prayer day. This is the day you better start praying. You know, Saturday was the day of rest for the Creator. Not Sunday. You believe everything you're told? I don't know, sweetie. On my egg, he's good. I feel weird doing the show now with no audience. I know, I feel stupid. Speaking of stupid, hey, watch your mouth. And so, all right, this is what I'll do while people are filing in. Back in the days of the grandfathers, people knew how to party. In Bemidji, before there was a time of television and the internets, people would actually get together and party up out in the streets. They'd have parades. They'd have winter carnivals here in Bemidji. People get out and, they do the polar plunge. There'd be games and music, full marching bands through the streets. People cleaned their cars and drove into town. But it's almost like we forgot where we came from. Sometimes people say, the problem with being Anishinaabe is that we don't know our history and our culture. We don't know our language. But I think everybody kind of suffers from historical amnesia. We don't remember where we came from, even just a couple of generations ago. So here's a song I'm going to play while the BOOZHOO crew comes in. Michael and... you're on the song too, aren't you, sweetie? Yep! Michael and Natasha recorded. And it's called Snow on Skin. Because that's what memories are like. You don't remember, it just dissipates. Like when the snow hits your skin. You don't remember where you've been. This is Snow on Skin. And the road is closed. Still the cars pull in. Now the day is young, so we begin again. And I shut my eyes to what might be a cool recess beneath these old pine trees. And I don't remember where I've been. My past dissipates like snow on skin. It's cold outside, let me in. Our past dissipates like snow on skin, snow on skin. From what I've seen, nothing's meant to last, but I can't move forward, and I'm living in the past. But I've come so far, and I've run so fast. But how long do I have, and how long can I last? I don't remember where I've been. My past dissipates like snow on skin. It's cold outside, let me in. Our past dissipates like snow on skin, snow on meant to last.
That's for sure.
And I can't move forward.
Why is that?
And I'm living in the past. And I'm living in the past. And I'm living in the past. I'm living in the past.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, nice job, you guys. All right. Welcome back to the show. Welcome back to BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO, the podcast about Ojibwe language and rock and roll. That's a sweet song you guys did. Ah, thanks. You too, Michael. Thanks, Niji. All right. So, hey, Grassroots is here. Grassroots Indians is here, sweetie. BOOZHOO, Grassroots! Get a gold star. Gold star for being first in class. Oh, and who's this now? Banashka. Love you. Love this YouTube channel. Miigwech. Sog Chip. Does that mean you're a Saginaw Chippewa? One of the Chippewas are here. BOOZHOO, Niji. How's it going, cuz? So nice you could join us. We started the show and there was nobody here, and I felt kind of stupid doing a live show for nobody. But here you guys are, so welcome. Welcome to the show. We were just talking about the past. You know, I'm living in the past, man. I want to go back. I want to go back to the days of the grandfathers, you know. Go back to before we were so addicted to our stupid phones. Before the media was trying to, brainwash us. But I don't know. I mean, if it's not the media, it's the Gabe Kikendaso Wikamig. Kikendaso Wikamig, the whole extent of education. This is what they decided to call college in the Ojibwe language. Oh yeah, you got your school, but then when you go to college, that's all of becoming smart. All to be educated. Lodge. Directly what's called college. Did you guys go to college? Did you invest in your future? Oh, I know. I'll borrow money now so that one day I can get a job. Huh? Oh, is that what college will promise to do? Well, they don't promise that. But believe you me, once you get through college, you'll be so smart, you'll become rich. Huh, sweetie? I don't know. I never went to college. Oh, yeah, you were smart. Yep. I got by in my looks. Yeah. See, I had this to work with. I had to go to college, go waste money and learn about poetry. Because that's what the job market's looking for. Poets. Yeah, you're an English major, huh? Yep. Got my paper degree right on the wall there. $60,000, you guys. And I learned, what did I learn in college? Henry V is not the fifth sequel to Henry. Henry V was a king's name and a play by William Shakespeare. After I got out of college, I learned that probably wasn't... We're not sure if there actually was a person named William Shakespeare who wrote way too many plays for one guy. You know, that's one of the things everybody's waking up to these days, that history is just a story. These colleges and school. But apparently there was a man named William Shakespeare who wrote just, a full-on play, and directed and starred in and did everything. And traveled the countryside. All the while also writing poems and sonnets named William Shakespeare. Years later, people would speculate, did he have a sister? I bet he had a sister who helped him write. It's like, why a sister? Because in history, people are desperate to find female writers. It's almost none that are good. Don't look at me. Sorry, ladies. But I don't believe that Shakespeare wrote everything he ever was claimed to have written. It's kind of like how they say, oh yeah, what's that guy that's always supporting public television? Carnegie, whatever his name is. Like every Carnegie Hall in every town. Oh, it's one guy's. He designed and built this place. The reality was nobody knows who did anything in the history. So they say, oh yeah, this guy, he was really rich and talented, so he built everything. Well, they found 1 million plays that are actually pretty good and 3, 4, 5 hours long sometimes. In the old days, people had an attention span longer than a YouTube video short, So Shakespeare wrote a whole bunch of plays, and one of them was called Henry V. And I learned that in college. I taught myself kind of how to write because they would give you assignments, write about what you think of Henry V. They didn't really teach me how to write. I don't think I learned anything in college. Really? Well, I learned about politics by talking to other students. So I didn't really learn anything useful, just how to protest. I lost my religion for a while because of college. No, I think I got dumber by being in college. Gabe kicken daso wigamig. The whole extent of education, not Indian education. Don't get that confused. Indian education is a whole other thing. A whole other ball of ridiculousness. I used to be the director of Indian education for a school here in northern Minnesota. And above my classroom door, somebody wrote Indian Ed, like short for education. So a guy comes in and goes, excuse me, I'm looking for, are you Ed? What? No, that's not my name. And he assumed that my title was my name, Indian Ed. Oh, hello, my name is Indian Ed. Edward, and I'm an Indian, so therefore, oh, you want to go down to African American studies? Yeah, Black Tom is down there. Look out for Mexican Juan. He'll be the door on the left. But Indian education. Then I went and worked at the tribal college. Wigamig. There are 2 I's in Wigamig? Wigamig. I don't know. There might be 2 I's in that word. I don't know. See, I didn't learn how to spell. So the question is, should you go to college? What do you think, sweetie? Should kids today go to college? I think if you want to go to college to get a license to do something, then you should. Like to be a teacher? Yeah. If you got to get a license, then you have to, jump through the hoops. But otherwise, I don't know. Yeah. What about if you want to be an artist or a musician? Then absolutely not. Why? Because what's that going to do for you? Well, you can learn how to sing. You can major in music. Every college has a music major. Yeah, well, so what? Why don't you just start singing? Or if you want to be like a successful singer, don't go to college and just go start singing in a bar or in church or on a corner for tips. Like you, huh, Michael? Yeah, I used to do that. What do they call that? Busking? I was a busker. When you play guitar on the street corner for tips. It's kind of like being a talented beggar. Yeah, pretty much. You're just a step above being a common beggar. Kabe kicken das owigamig. College. And should you go to college? I don't know. What's it really worth anymore? Number one, colleges have been so I think they took down colleges with the woke mob. I don't know if you can really get just an objective education anymore. I think it's mostly just indoctrination. You know, equity. You know, oh, let's undo racism. What? What's this have to do with education? How dare you? Don't you care? Don't you care that Black Lives Matter? Don't you care about the transgenders and the gays and the women and the retarded Americans? Don't say retarded. That's politically incorrect. They want to be called retarded Americans. Differently retarded, I think, is a term. It's not differently retarded. I don't know. I'm not talking about people with developmental disabilities. No. I'm talking retards. Like, you know, male feminists. Like, you know, those guys. Hey, Daniel Black. The opposite of what I'm talking about. Daniel Black is based. Daniel Black has taken a red pill. He's woken up. He sees the truth. How you doing, EG? Daniel says, "BOOZHOO, out with the kids at the farm park." Oh, your kids are with you? I better clean up my language. Just checking to see and lo and behold, a sneaky early start. That's right, Daniel. You never know when we're going to start. Nobody was here for the first 10 minutes. That's how popular we are. It's like the same 10 people show up every day. And I'm like, hey, you came on too soon. But nice to see you, Daniel. We're talking about college. Kape kikendaso wigamig. And should you go to college? Now, Daniel went to the school of hard knocks. He learned what he had to learn on the streets. Kikeno amiri wigamig. They teach each other house. Boy, is that ever a hippie impression of what school is. Kikeno amidi wigamig. Oh, yeah, I'm the teacher, but I actually learn from the students. We teach each other. Because you know, in the Indian way, we sit Indian style in a circle, in the sacred medicine wheel. And this way, nobody's better than anybody else. Is that really like an Ojibwe value? Absolutely not. That's like, I don't know. In Ojibwe, you know, when English words came around, like, of course we had education before we had English. You had to teach your kids just like every group in the whole world. You know, we had, I guess, school. There would have been a group of kids growing up in the same age groups that all had to learn how to fish and hunt. And apparently they want us to believe we didn't have a written language. Dumb public school history says Native Americans didn't have their own written language. And that's why we didn't have, you know, textbooks and whatever. But I'm really starting to doubt that too. But anyway, so after the English came in, and after the boarding schools, and when they were trying to relearn the Ojibwe language, they had to get speakers, and they go, okay, what do you want to call the word school? And I go, well, in our way, when we taught the kids, you know, we would actually learn. We'd sort of teach ourselves, teaching the kids. Okay, kids, this is how we're going to build this lodge. All right, I want you to help me. First thing you need to know about building a lodge, it needs to be waterproof, you know. And so, yeah, you kind of learn as you're imparting knowledge. That's a good way to really kind of help yourself, you know, see what you know. So teach somebody else. But no, we were not equals with the children. I hate that about modern schools. You go to a modern school now, and none of the teachers are being called Mr. Johnson, Mr. Smith, Mr. Stillwell. You know, it's all, hey, Chad. Hey, Ryan. Hey, Jimmy, these are my teachers. We're on a first name basis because we're all equal. Kids don't even want that. I don't know why these schools all want to be like that now. They teach each other house is a Ojibwe phrase for the word school. Kikanu, amidi wigamig. But I don't buy that at all. So cynical now. It's probably good I don't work in a school anymore. Yeah, probably. Oh, they teach each other. I believe the children are the future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. What? You want a bunch of dumb kids leading us into battle? No thank you. The only place a kid's going to lead you is into, trouble. But that's the weird upside down world we're living in. Oh, the children are the only ones who can, they're the smart ones now. That's kind of always the subtext of movies and stuff. The adults are dumb and the kids are smart and they save the day. Oh, Home Alone. Look at, like that's a new movie or something. But, dumb little kid outsmarts two adult career criminals in a home invasion. Every Disney movie, the kids outsmart the adults. We're raising a generation of kids who think they're equal to adults. Parents, I see it all the time on Facebook. Oh, my daughter's my best friend. It's like, what? You need to get some friends your own age, lady. Your daughter's a kid. Oh, I heard Paul Stanley say this once. My son is my hero. What? Your son? Yeah. How can my hero have a hero who's some rock star's kid? My son is my hero. I look up, ask advice from my son. Okay. Good luck with that. Oh, we teach each other. Kikano amidi wigamig. I think I'm crabby, sweetie. Are you really? Yeah, I don't know why. I'm in a foul mood. I'm mad at teachers. I'm mad at colleges. I think you're all just... What do you think of your school experience? I had a good school. Did you really? Yeah. And my school was so small that I got to do anything I wanted. Like we could participate in sports or in theater and speech or anything. It wasn't so competitive. Yeah, LaPorte was like that too. Yeah. I mean, this is a weird thing. When I think about school, I actually think I had a pretty decent education growing up. I could have dropped out of school by 7th grade and been just fine. I think most of us could have, You learn how to read and write and basic math by 7th grade. You can multiply, divide. You can do logic. If I leave my house at 5 o'clock in the morning and I travel 500 miles going 55 miles an hour, how far will I get? How long will it take me to get to Minneapolis driving 65 miles an hour? Logic. All the math you need to know. I got $2,000 in the bank. I just wrote $1,200 $1,200 worth of bills. What do I have left? That's all you need to know. But high school was great socially. This is before they had everybody wearing masks and kids were just randomly shooting up the school because they were bullied. Oh, don't give me a Snuggie. Don't tease me. I'm going to come here and shoot up your school. Then you'll be sorry. But my high school experience was, my same group of friends, a small, I think our class, my graduating class had 18 students in it. Half of them I knew in kindergarten. And it was a safe, pretty the teachers just kind of did their bare minimum. Didn't learn much. It wasn't, But I got to play basketball and football and baseball. First time I ever sang on a stage was in LaPorte School when I was in elementary. Got to learn how to play the trumpet and then forget how to play the trumpet because I didn't keep it up. I don't know, tennis. Learned how to play tennis. I got a tennis court when I was about an 8th grader. That was kind of cool. And the adults in my life are pretty decent for the most part. I mean, they were like a classic abusive, physically abusive 80s teacher. That would smack you in the back of the head if you weren't paying attention. Might kick you in the butt, literally, to kick you out of class. I had teachers give me, what do they call when they twist your nipples? I don't know. Titty twister, I think we called it. I mean, stuff that they'd get fired for now and it'd be on the news. Randomly happened all the time at our school. In every school. But, I didn't really hold any grudges about that. Who cares? There were fights once in a while, but it was, for the most part, pretty safe environment to grow up in. And I feel grateful that I didn't grow up in, Columbine. What's the other place? Sandy Hook. Even though, look into Sandy Hook, you guys. That's a pretty suspicious school that might have been closed for a good year before anything happened. Before they closed it for good. But I can't talk about that because First Amendment doesn't exist. Hoka, hey, Zagame's here. Bonjour, Zagame. So nice to see you. Zagame's here, sweetie. Hey, bonjour. How you doing? Zagame says, early to school, I'm glad the Anamosh woke me. The Anamosh is smarter than me. Nonsense. Don't you know you're the master? Not Ojibwe people. Anamosh means dog. Her dog woke her up. Daniel Black says, not all heroes wear capes. This is true. Not all heroes wear capes. And teachers want to call themselves heroes for some reason. For doing a job they're paid for. And doing it kind of grudgingly and with lots of complaints. And with a union that makes it almost impossible to get rid of them. Even when they're dating your kid. I don't know. Zagame says, back in the day, haha, when I went to school, we learned things like gun safety, typing. Yeah, us too. Those were other things that I actually learned. Typing was really important. We all thought it was a blow-off class at the time. It's like, okay, you got typing 3rd hour. Like, what? Why am I going to need to know typing? I'm not going to be a secretary. What you do anyway, I used to go to typing class and just type love letters to my girlfriend. Did you really? Yeah, I was kind of formal in my love letters. I'd write to Karen and Walker. Dearest Karen, clip, 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 That's right. I'm sitting in typing class, obviously, because she'll get a letter and that I would give to one of my friends to give to her. We had this program, you could go to another school for a class, because our school was so small, I don't know what it was. But a buddy of mine would go to the Walker school. It was a different school where my girlfriend lived. My girlfriend attended. And so he'd pass her these notes I would type up in typing class. But I learned how to type. I'm not one of these weirdos just hunting and pecking like an idiot. I can type like a proper person. Really slowly with lots of mistakes. But whatever. And gun safety. Yeah, that's too. By 6th or 7th grade, you'd have gun safety class. Bring in your rifles. Doesn't matter, your BB guns, 22s, 410s. We're going to have gun safety, gun training. Stay after school. And we even had a gun club when I was in elementary. I don't think the elementary kids could be part of it, but and my braid is falling apart here. Yeah, there was a picture in our yearbook. It was like gun club, and it showed all these kids laying on their bellies, aiming, shooting their rifles. And in the age of school shootings, this is way before school shootings. No one thought anything of it. But you look at it now, like, holy man, what were they doing in LaPorte School in 1978? Just gunning down kids as they came in? No, that's gun safety. Kids could drive up to the school in a pickup with a rifle in their pickup. They'd have gun racks. Get out, spit your chew out on a parking lot that wasn't paved, and walk in. When I was a little guy, man, the teenagers were like grown rednecks already. Had their own automobiles. They worked in farms. They worked out in the woods, loggers. Parents just let them smoke cigarettes. And they have guns in their pickups. The kid would be 17 years old. And like my Little League coach in the summer. Weird. La, la, la. Daniel Black says, a well-rounded education then, eh? That's right. You gotta learn to defend yourself from domestic and foreign terrorism. Zagame says, some heroes wear bandanas. That's right. This one does. What's a hero that wears a bandana and has a thumb? This guy. Are you a hero? I'm a hero. I'm in a good day. What song is that has the word hero? I'm holding up for a hero. Are you holding up for a hero? No, baby, I got you. I got you, babe. Am I your hero? No. How come I'm not your hero? See, this is what I'm talking about. Because you're my weenie Moshane. You're my sweetheart. That's not being a hero. You don't have... Hero is somebody you put up on a pedestal. He's a symbol. A symbol of possibility. Oh, that's my hero. I mean, yeah, a hero can be somebody who saved your life. No, it's not every nurse. Oh, they're the frontline heroes. Easy. That's just a nurse giving children inoculations. It doesn't make her a hero. It makes her somebody who's following her orders. Oh yeah, but she could get sick at her job. That makes her a hero. Nope. Guys who lay pavement can get sick at their jobs too. They're not heroes. They're just taking a risk. Well, what about the police? They're the heroes. They can be if they save somebody's life. I don't know. The guy who put down George Floyd, that's a hero. Don't say that. Nah, I'm just kidding. I want to make people mad. Yeah, sure, there's heroes. Like, who's a hero? I've seen cops be heroes. Any cop who saves a guy who's about to jump off a bridge, and you see the guy walk. You've seen videos of it. It's like, don't do it, man. And he takes off his hat and he goes, man, I'm just gonna level with you. My wife left me too. It's tough, I know. And they go out and they grab the guy right before he jumps. But they save his life. That's a hero. Paul Stanley is a hero. How is Paul Stanley a hero? Because he taught a generation to rock and roll all night and party every day. Did he really teach us that, or did he just tell us he wanted to do that? Oh, yeah. That's a good point. Yeah, he said, I want to rock and roll all night and party every day. Yeah. Okay. Well said, sweetie. So, yeah, he wanted to rock and roll. So he's not a hero. How about 9/11 heroes? What do you think? Who were the heroes of 9/11? George Bush? No, I don't think so. The first responders. You mean the guys who ran into the building and told people to go back upstairs? Yeah. Those guys heroes? No, they're dead. How about the guys up in the plane who said, let's roll. We're going to take down these terrorists. And then they crashed the plane anyway. Are those guys terrorists? Terrorists? Those guys heroes? Maybe. Yeah. I doubt that even happened. I'm holding on for a hero. Well, here's my hero, Jessica Walbooz. Hey, is Jessie here? She sure is. Good morning, Jessica. Jessica says, Boozhoo crew, getting ready for church, but I'm all ears. Yeah, we came on early today. We're going to make it to church this week. And I got a shower before we go. I can't go to church looking like this. I'll be the laughing stock. I don't think anybody cares. Even the pastor doesn't dress up. I know. We are the most casual church I've ever known. Just, so people bring donuts and that. You wear whatever. When I was a kid, it was like Sunday morning. My grandma, she put on her best clothes. Put on makeup and that. Some shoes, a dress, earrings. I don't know. She get her hair done the day before so she could look good for church. You'd walk in there, to be seen. Nowadays, I walk in there in my pajamas. Hey, what's going on? I walk in there with coffee breath. The kids run in, they're wearing shorts. How come I had to dress up when I went to church? I don't know, because we were oppressed. Yeah, oppression. Today's Ojibwe word of the day, oppression. How come we had to dress up so nice when we were kids? Because our elders wanted us to be presentable. Yeah, I guess so. But are they heroes? Your grandpa's a hero. How is my grandpa a hero? Because he went to war, and then he raised a family, and he was a police officer. Yeah, I suppose. Got no respect. Yeah, our elders, they're the heroes. They're the heroes. There we go. Today's Ojibwe phrase of the day. Who are the real heroes? Question of the day. The boarding school survivors. And the boarding school escapees, like my grandpa was. My grandmother, she would never call herself a survivor. She would call herself a graduate, an alumni of boarding school. She didn't survive boarding school. She excelled at boarding school. She crushed boarding school. Went on to college. She went on to the Gabikenda Su Wigamig. Gabikenda Su. My grandmother went on to college. She was one of the first Native American women to get a teaching degree at Bemidji State Teachers College, which is now called, we're the University of Minnesota, Bemidji. Well, okay. Anyway, but my grandpa, he ran away from boarding school. He had enough. He was like, forget this. He snuck out 3 different times. Cops would catch him, bring him back. He and his brother Ray. For people who watch the show a lot, you might have heard a song we've done called Home, where I talk about that. But that wasn't the end of his adventures. After that, he went back home to the res. Eventually started working out in the woods, became a logger. And in the summers, he and his brothers became a businessman. They were fishing tour guides and fish cleaners. They would take tourists, rich people from the cities, all the way to Chicago sometimes, out on fishing trips in Lake Winnebagoshish, in the big Lake Winnie, as we call it around here. In those days, not everybody had an outboard motor, but my grandpa did. And they'd have so many people want to go fishing with my grandpa and his brothers, have a real Indian fishing guide experience in northern Minnesota. They would have a whole train of boats. They even had a big launch, I think, for a while. Lyons launch. But sometimes they just tow other boats out with them. And they go, okay, come on. We're locals. We know where the fish bite. And they bring the tourists out, give them a good time, catch a bunch of fish, party up on the boats, take them back to shore, clean up their catch. People would come up and vacation on our lakes. Well, then eventually the Great War breaks out. My old grandpa, he signs up, Pretty soon he's in the South Pacific, fighting in the jungles. He was at Guadalcanal, fighting the Japanese. A machine gun. You know, I don't know if he stepped on a landmine, or if he was right next to a guy who stepped on a landmine. Took shrapnel. Didn't even kill him. Came back home 3 years later. 3 years, by the way. Thank you, U.S. Army, for my volunteering 3 years of my life somehow. But gets home. He's got a little boy. Got an old lady. And takes her back to the homeland, Bina. And, you know, sets up camp, starts, you know, working, hunting, working in the woods, fishing, bringing, you know, taking care of business. Making sure his kids are fed, wife is happy. He got a house, eventually had a car, eventually got his boys through, 3 boys, got them through high school. Taught them how to hunt and drive and everything. And eventually he gets a job on the police force. Gets a cop car and a gun. Now he's driving around picking up drunks. And eventually he retires. No, eventually he buys a resort. I think my grandma helped him a lot with the paperwork. But now he owns a whole resort on a lake. This is a guy, by the way. No, now he's a business owner. Rents out cabins, goes fishing, plays cards, has, you know, nice resort on Cabacona Lake. Gabacona. This is a guy with a 6th grade education, 7th grade education. He didn't go to college. Why do you want to go to college? College going to teach you how to survive World War II? Going to teach you how to be a good fisherman? How to be a businessman? How to be a cop? I guess you can go to college, you could be a cop, can't you? No, actually, you just go to police school. Oh, police academy, yeah. Yeah, don't go to college. What do you need it for? But anyway, my grandpa was my hero. And Paul Stanley. Kikanu, Amidi, Wagamik. They teach each other house. Oh, you kids. You're the ones who are teaching me. I don't know. Hoka, hey, where are you going, Daniel? Daniel says, see y'all later. We'll see ya, Daniel. You be good. If you can't be good, be careful. That's what my grandma used to say. Yeah. Be good. If you can't be good, be careful. Being good was more of a suggestion for her than a command. If you can't be good, be careful. Sweetie, do you want to get up here and say hello to the people? Sure. All right. I'm going to let, oh, what's this? DJ, BOOZHOO, DJ. DJ's here, sweetie. Hey, BOOZHOO. DJ says, my Irish grandmother's brother was in Canada during World War II. Both of them, Brits and Canadians, were disciplined for heavy drinking and having prize fights. Yeah, that's right. People become golden gloves in the army. Drinking and having prize fights. They're probably just drunken brawls. I got $20, says I can kick your butt. Bring it on. DJ says, but the people who are saying it's downplaying what happened will have it come back to bite them, because if the innocent get accused along with the guilty, it will come out that the innocent people have been accused, and the whole thing will be cast doubt on. I think I'm missing what you're talking about. Yup, the old boy was with the Royal Air Force. The Royal Air Force, cool. Oh, here we go. DJ is saying, not all boarding schools are bad. My mother-in-law, Ojibwe, was an orphan and went to boarding school. She said the nuns were super kind to her. Yeah, that is that's the other side of the boarding school story. Since we're talking about schools, let me talk a little bit about boarding schools. Because I know everything there is to know. I visited Flanders twice. Both of my grandparents went to a Flanders Indian boarding school back in the good old days. My grandfather was 10 years older than my grandma. He was born in 1913. And so by the 20s, he was in school. By the 30s, he was running away from school. And how does this work? So the boarding schools, of course, were taught one side. The story we're taught by the propaganda, by critical race theory, was once upon a time, Indians were great and peaceful and utterly defenseless against the superior white supremacy of the European invasion, who forced us onto, who first of all committed genocide, forced us onto reservations, and then took our children by force away to these schools where they made them speak English and then raped them. And they go, okay, well, that sounds perfectly horrible. It's like, yeah, it is. And it was much more than that. Back in the days of the grandfathers, when we were trying to somehow create some order and some peace for everybody involved in this new age that had come to us. The old world was dying. You know, however you want to frame it, the idea that non-English speakers not living here, that was over. And so the leaders of the native people and the leaders of the non-native people got together and came up with treaties that included a lot of stuff like territorial claims, giving up of natural resources, stuff like that. And per instruction from the Native Americans, the indigenous people said, you know what, we don't want our children, okay, we can build this new society, but we want to be part of it. We, meaning our children and our ancestors. We're not going to just be living on these reservations like a wildlife refuge. We want to learn English. We want the same education as non-Indian kids. And so what they came up with were boarding schools, residential schools. The kids would come to an elite, essentially like a Catholic school meets a military school, immersion college school. Kids would come. You only see the worst portrayal of the admissions process in movies. The only story we're ever told about boarding school admissions was that kids were dragged away from their mother's arms in a wigwam and then flown away on a prop plane. And then when they get there, they shave their heads, they doused them with kerosene, stole their beautiful beadwork and their feathers, and then put them in uniforms, and then immediately set about beating and raping them. We'll go, that sucks. So, yeah, I know. It's the worst thing in the world. And sometimes it wasn't like that at all. Sometimes it would have been the 10th year anniversary of the boarding school admissions week, where all the families and the kids were excited to go to boarding school because that's where all their cousins were, all the friends they made the year before. It's a place where they saw their older brother and sisters and cousins and stuff come back with uniforms and haircuts and speaking a language and learning how to play piano. My grandmother, me being a smart mouth college liberal, I did nothing but badmouth the boarding schools. I thought I was educating people to tell my grandfather's story of his physical abuse and his running away, and the assimilation. Did you know they didn't even allow us to speak Ojibwe? It's like, yeah. how you're supposed to learn English in 9 months. It's called immersion. People do this all the time now. They have immersion schools for Ojibwe, which never work, but boarding schools, they worked. And so, yeah, some of the staff were awesome. You'd have teachers and coaches and nurses who truly cared about the kids, who did everything in their power in their education to try to impart, English and math and science and history. By the time my grandmother got out of boarding school, she was ready for college. She loved her teachers, and she was an athlete. She could play basketball. But she also learned about farming and sewing and knitting and cooking. My grandmother was much more educated, much more fully educated than I ever was coming out of high school, because she went to an elite boarding school. But that's not good critical race theory. Nobody wants to hear about the benefits the Native Americans received from the boarding school experience. Like I learned this. The Redskins? The Washington Redskins? Yeah. You know why they called them the Redskins? Because they're racist. No, that's what everyone thinks. Oh, because they hated Indians so much, they went, hey, I know, let's call our football team the Redskins. That'll really make those dirty Redskins mad. No, Carlisle Indian School had a nationally known football program. Some of the boarding schools, you got to remember that these are kids who grew up. It's like a military school. They had to do marches and runs and calisthenics in the morning. So by the time they graduated from high school, these like world-class athletes. Some of these boarding school kids went on to like run in the Olympics and stuff. The boarding school grads were amazing. A lot of them. So when the Washington Redskins team first got started, like half of their team was Indian. They didn't have like colleges. Did they have college football teams? Which came first, college football or professional football? Probably college football, but I don't know. In any case, yeah, it's very old-fashioned-y. And, people of my grandfather's generation and before, they would have called people, like Chinamen, not thinking it was racial at all. As an Oriental person, how do you feel about this? People had a different... Nowadays, people say, oh, that's a hateful word. My grandfather used to call the Japanese the Japs. And I'd be all like, Grandpa, you shouldn't say that. Like, what are you talking about? Japs, that's a racial term. That's almost as bad as redskin. He'd be like, what's wrong with redskin? It's like, don't you know? But apparently, Washington Redskins used to have lots of Carlisle Indian boarding school grads on their team. They were famous. They were like the Indian football team. And so they thought, the first coach was like, well, let's just call ourselves the Redskins. And all the Indians are like, yeah, man. Redskin power. Red power. So, and now everybody wants to be offended. Oh, no. So I hear you, DJ. Nuns were super kind. Yeah. And you see it like when I went to Flanders the second time, I went with my grandmother. It was an all-school reunion. So there were some old Indians there. All of them just teary-eyed memories, good memories of their time at Flanders. The documentaries about boarding school never show those kind of school reunions where everyone's hugging and saying, oh, we had such a great time. Remember all those times, those Christmas programs? Because the kids would have to stay at the school over Christmas time. Well, history will say, oh, it's so sad. They were taken away from their families. Yeah. And they had a school family of their cousins, their best friends, their teachers, coaches, nurses that they saw every day became like their parents. So Christmas rolls around, and they've got a Christmas feast, the banquet, the program, the dance. You know, it was a big deal. And sporting events, homecomings. You know, it was a group. Like my grandmother, she was from Boy River. Boy River today is still in the middle of nowhere. You know, if you wanted to build a school in Boy River, it'd be like a one-room schoolhouse. It'd be like a Little House on the Prairie again. But Flandreau was like a college. And so when they did stuff, they did it up right. You know, you have track and field day at Flandreau. It was like going to the Olympics. Anyway, sweetie, you want to get up here? Yeah. All right. One more song, and I'm going to let Natasha get up here. Maybe she can sound like a total racist, just like me. Nah. Oh, okay. Here's this song. It's called Operator. Back in the days of the grandfathers, there was a singer who had the greatest mustache in the world. His name was Jim Croce. I almost called him Jimmy Croce. Jim Croce wrote a song, and this is a song about a guy. Okay, I'm going to give it just a little bit of an intro for the young people. Back in the days of the grandfathers, we used to have one phone per family, and that phone would hang in the kitchen, and you'd have to share it with your whole family. And when you wanted to make a call, you could either find a phone book, or you could just grab the phone, hit 0, which meant O for operator, and a lady would get on there and she'd say, "Operator, may I help you?" And you'd say, "Hello, operator. Can you help me make a call? I'm looking for my friend who lives in Los Angeles, California, and her name is blah, blah, blah." And she'd say, "Oh, let me grab a phone book. I'll look it up for you." And then she'd say, "Do you want me to connect you?" And you'd say, "Yeah, sure. You wouldn't even have to dial the phone." She goes, "Well, have a nice day." It was back in time when we had human beings do jobs like that. And we just call her the telephone operator. So this is a song that took place back in the good old days. There's a guy. Well, here's another thing we used to have. This thing called a phone booth. On the street corners in every town, there'd be a glass box. Can you believe this? Called a phone booth. You walk in there, and for one dime, 10 cents, you put a dime in there. Eventually, it would go up to a quarter. But you put a dime in there. And the operator would come on, and she'd say, "Operator." And I go, "Hello, operator. Can you help me place a call?" And in this story, the guy goes and he says that. And then he says, here's another thing we don't have anymore. He wrote down somebody's phone number on a matchbook. Back in the days of the grandfathers, we used to have matches everywhere. People let you smoke anywhere you go. You walk into a restaurant and be like, "Hey, why don't you sit down here by this ashtray? And here's a matchbook. It's got the name of the business. You can smoke a cigarette, use these matches, and then take them with you." Later on, somebody will say, "Hey, where did Bob's Burgers come from?" "Oh, that's a matchbook." But, so this guy, he calls up the operator. He's like, "Operator, can you help me make this call?" The number on his matchbox, it's old and faded. You can't even read it. Because see, I want to talk to these two friends of mine, my old girlfriend and my ex-old best friend. You see, his best friend his girlfriend had cheated on him with her best friend. And with his best friend. I'm doing a terrible job setting up this song. You're doing fine. Girlfriend cheats on him with his best friend. He loses both. And he calls the operator and he's like, "Can you help me make this call?" And she gives him the number. Then he can't even dial the number because he's got tears in his eyes. He says, "Can you help me I can't see the number." And then eventually he goes, "You know what? Never mind. I wanted to call just to let him know that I'm fine. And I've taken the blow well. I've learned to take it well. but he wishes his words could just convince himself. Sweetie, what's happening? You just got choked up. What are you doing? That was weird. That has nothing to do with this song. I'm making a fool of myself. You're okay. This is a operator. Operator, can you help me place this call? See, the number on the matchbook is old and faded. She's living in LA with my best old ex-friend Ray, a guy that she said she knew once and almost hated. But isn't that the way they say it goes? Well, let's forget all that. Give me the number if you can find it, so I can call just to tell him I'm fine and to show I've overcome the blow. I've learned to take it well. I only wish my words could just convince myself that it just wasn't real. But that's not the way it feels. No, 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 no. That's not the way it feels. Operator, can you help me place this call? I can't read the number that you just gave me. There's something in my eyes, you know it happens every time I think about the love that I thought would save me. Isn't that the way they say it goes? Well, let's forget all that. Give me the number if you can find it, so I can call just to tell him I'm fine and to show I've overcome the blow. I've learned to take it well. I only wish my words could just convince myself that it just wasn't real. That's not the way it feels. No, 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 no. That's not the way it feels. Operator, well, let's forget about this call. There's no one there I really needed to talk to. Thank you for your time. You've been so much more than kind. You can keep the dime. But isn't that the way they say it goes? Well, let's forget all that. Give me the number if you can find it, so I can call just to tell him I'm fine and to show overcome the blow. I've learned to take it well. I only wish my words could just convince myself that it just wasn't real. But that's not the way it feels. No, 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 no. That's not the way it feels. BOOZHOO! BOOZHOO! This has nothing to do with the song, operator. Get your mama do. Daga we do go wishing. Went away no go. I don't think it's right to air other people's grief for entertainment purposes. You know who I'm thinking about. Kape Inke. I think we're just gonna call it a show. I'm really sad about something today, and maybe I'll tell you about it later. But until then, miigwech bizandawieg. Thank you for listening. And thank you for watching BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO, the podcast about Ojibwe language and culture. I am Natasha. Back home is NANABOOZHOO and Michael Lyons. I'm sorry I can't tell you what's going on. I'm okay. NANABOOZHOO's fine. Michael's fine.